Damn, I'm almost out of coffee. This won't do. Hold on, just a second. That's better. Hi. I hate introductions. I don't know what to say. I'm Celia, I'm an artist, and cat mom, and regular person suffering with quarantine, craziness, depression. I'm okay though. We're here to talk about art. We're here to talk about digital art, in fact. So, what is digital art? Most art forms, let's go with the basics. Painting with acrylics, acrylic paint, oil paints, which a lot of people painted with back in the Impressionism era. In like France, in Europe, that's my favorite era of art. I took an art history class. I did okay. I love art history, but yeah. So acrylic paint, it uses pigments, color pigments that are made from like minerals and whatnot, oil paints, and then, you know, drawing with your handy dandy pencil. But digitally, instead of using paint, instead of using lead, you are using pixels. I'm sure everybody has painted with paint, you know, like Windows paint on the old computer, you know, from back in my day. I used paint, you know, like that, you know, that program. That's a pixel. That's a pixel. I didn't use paint too much, honestly, so I don't remember exactly how it worked. But, you know, you put a color on the canvas is white, you put a color on it, and I don't know, usually, I don't even know if they have a blending tool. They might nowadays, but back then I don't think they did. You would just put these pixels of colors onto the canvas, and that's the very basic form of digital art. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about how it compares to regular art. A lot of people have asked me, oh, can I have your original? And it's kind of hard to do that with digital art because it's a file, so I'd be giving you a flash drive. Everything digitally is done into the computer. Does that mean it's harder or easier than regular art? Every form of art has its own skills that you have to master. So for acrylics, you have to learn how to mix paints in order to create different colors. And you also have to work fast because the paint dries. For oil painting, it takes hours upon hours upon hours for the paint to dry. Both of those take a certain skill that you need to get good at in order to do that. So does digital art. It's similar but different, and in a way I would say digital art is easier than oil painting and acrylics, but I'm very biased because I've only done digital art. I must say, for digital art, I am spoiled, and what I think makes it easier is that in digital art, let's say, okay, you have a base layer, you have a canvas, and then you have a base layer, and then you can create a layer on top of that, and then have separate layers and have different things on each layer. You can have, okay, so let's say I'm drawing a person. I can have the skin on one layer, and then on the skin layer I can have a layer on top of that that is called a clipping mask, and that clips to the layer below, and I can shade. So let's say I want to shade the skin. On the clipping mask, wherever I paint will go only to that layer below. So yeah, you can't do that with painting. So the topic was, how does it relate to the other art? It's still an art form that takes skill and time in learning how to do it. The beautiful thing about art that I absolutely love is that you imagine something beautiful in your head, and then you put that on canvas or in a terrarium or something. Obviously, it may not be as good at first as what you are picturing, but that's where practice and time comes in. You have to practice and practice and practice, and eventually you'll be able to put exactly what you're imagining onto that canvas. And that's the beautiful thing about art. So how does it relate? How does digital art relate to these other art forms, oil paints and everything else? It's an art form. It's done just the same way. It's painting on a computer, but it's painting. Okay, next topic. So, how to get started digitally. Let's say I've convinced you to try digital art. Most tablets have a drawing program that anybody can really try. Heck, if you have an iPhone or Android, you can get like a cute little drawing app. But I started with an old iPad. It was like, I think it was like the second generation iPad. It was old. And then I saved up money and I splurged on a Windows. I do think it's very important that if you're gonna be serious about digital art, it's a lot more expensive than paint, but in the long run, you have the device for longer. But I splurged on a good tablet. Let's say you have a decent computer. You can always go for a Wacom tablet. I've never personally used them, but my friends used them, and she created gorgeous illustrations, and she used them for years. I think the cheapest Wacom runs about, I don't know. All these prices I'll put in the comment section because I'm not sure how much it costs. But yeah, get started with a Wacom tablet. You can get one. It's gonna be weird because it's like, the tablet is like right here and you draw and then you look at the screen. So it's gonna feel weird probably, but you'll get used to it. It's a cheaper alternative, but yeah, you're not drawing on it. But you can still, as long as you have that tablet and a computer, then you can get a program to draw in it and create beautiful illustrations. So what program do you use? So when I use the Windows Surface Pro, I use Clip Studio Paint. I think Clip Studio Paint it's Windows friendly, and actually it's Apple friendly now. They have an app. So if you have an iPad, you can download it, and I highly recommend it. I think it's a $4 subscription fee every month, but it's 100% worth it. I highly recommend Clip Studio Paint. I think they always have wonderful deals on it, and I think I got it for $15 or something. So you can't get better than that. $15 for an amazing drawing program you gotta get that deal. But that was a great deal that time. I think like normally it goes for at least $50 or more, $50 to $100. And then they had Clip Studio Paint X, like Expert. I know that's very good for making comics, but I just use for illustration purposes only. I use Clip Studio Paint Pro and 100% recommend it. Now I use an iPad and I use Procreate now. I just love the interface. The interface is much simpler than Clip Studio Paint. I still love Clip Studio Paint and I use it once in a while, but right now I use Procreate. It feels very, very, very organic, and I think it was $10. So if you have an iPad, you want to get started in digital art, and you can get Procreate, do it now. So let's say you want to get into digital art, right? What can you do? You want to make art, but you gotta live. You gotta buy litter for your cats and food and stuff. I don't know. I want to travel. That's why I make art. Anyways, so what can you do? You can make prints, just like any other art. You can. So it's a lot easier to make prints. That's what I do. Well, when festivals were going on, pre-COVID, I would do festivals and I would make my own prints that you can hang up on the wall. You have to do your research though. You have to get good paper, good ink, hold on, let me start off with saying I do this myself. You can go through a printing company if you want. I made prints. This is one of my pieces. It's called Arctic Waltz. Anyways, I made a print of it, and I've made many prints of it, and I've sold them at festivals. So that's one way. With digital art, you can make business cards, you can make prints, you can make greeting cards, you can make anything your heart desires, and then sell them on Etsy or anything really. It makes things easier. For doing a lot of stuff for like graphic design, you can make logos for companies, illustrations for children's books. You can do anything, and it's very easy to mass produce it because it's already a file in your computer. You don't have to scan anything, it's already there. Bam, ready to print. If you want to get into digital art, I wish you the best of luck. If you're just now getting started and you make your first piece, please send it to me. I would love to see it and we can talk about it. You know, that's one of the best ways that you can grow as an artist, is staying in contact with other people who are making art, and you guys all make art together, and you all grow as people, as artists. It's great. Okay, wishing you guys the best. Bye.